Guccio Gucci was 17 years old when he left Italy with almost nothing. The son of a bankrupt craftsman would eventually build one of the most powerful luxury brands on earth. But when he arrived in London, nobody saw a future icon. They saw a poor immigrant washing dishes inside the Savoy Hotel. What nobody realized was that Guccio Gucci was quietly studying the habits of the richest people in the world. Inside that hotel, he discovered something that would change his life forever. Luxury was not just about products. It was about status, identity, and aspiration. Years later, he would build an empire around that idea. Today, Gucci is worth billions and recognized across the globe. But behind the iconic logo is a story of poverty, obsession, war, reinvention, and survival. If you enjoy real stories of power, money, and transformation, subscribe and stay until the end, because the rise of Gucci is far more dramatic than most people realize. 1. The boy who watched wealth from a distance. Guccio Gucci was born in Florence in 1881 inside a struggling working-class family. His father made leather goods, but the business eventually collapsed, leaving the family nearly ruined. While growing up surrounded by financial instability, Guccio became fascinated by the wealthy tourists visiting Florence, especially the elegant luggage and clothing they carried through the city. Over time, he realized luxury was not just about money, it was about image, confidence, and status. The bags wealthy travelers carried looked less like practical objects and more like symbols of power. Without realizing it, young Guccio was already studying the psychology behind luxury itself. At 17, with little future left in Italy, Guccio moved to London searching for opportunity. He started working inside the Savoy Hotel, first as a dishwasher and later in roles closer to elite guests. Surrounded by aristocrats, industrialists, and royalty, he carefully studied the habits, tastes, and luggage of the richest people in the world. The poor boy from Florence had unknowingly entered the perfect classroom for building a future luxury empire. 2. The obsession that quietly changed everything. While most employees at the Savoy focused on surviving, Guccio Gucci became obsessed with understanding luxury. Watching wealthy guests every day taught him that expensive products were not just functional. They represented identity, exclusivity, and belonging. People were buying emotion as much as craftsmanship. That realization changed his entire perspective. Because of his father, Guccio already understood leather craftsmanship. But London taught him something even more valuable: perception. Wealthy customers cared about quality, but they also cared about story, elegance, and status. A luxury product needed to communicate power before a single word was spoken. But Guccio still had no business, no investors, and no formal training. After returning to Italy, he worked for the luggage company Franzi, combining technical skill with everything he had learned about luxury psychology abroad. Then the First World War changed Europe completely. Surviving the chaos intensified his ambition, and by the end of the war, Guccio no longer wanted stability alone. He wanted to build something powerful enough to survive history itself. 3. The small leather shop nobody took seriously. In 1921, Guccio Gucci opened a small leather shop in Florence. It looked ordinary, but Guccio understood something most craftsmen did not. Wealthy people were buying status as much as quality. Years spent watching elite travelers at the Savoy Hotel had taught him how luxury really worked. The beginning was difficult, but Guccio separated himself through storytelling and elegance. He transformed simple leather goods into symbols of sophistication, and wealthy tourists soon carried Gucci products across Europe. Gucci was no longer just selling bags, it was selling aspiration. Then Aldo Gucci joined the business and pushed for expansion. By the late 1930s, Gucci opened a second store in Rome, entering one of Europe's biggest luxury markets. But just as the company began rising, another global crisis threatened to destroy everything. 4. The crisis that created an icon. The Second World War created severe leather shortages across Europe, putting Gucci's business at risk. But instead of collapsing, Guccio adapted. Forced to experiment with materials like canvas, the company accidentally created design elements that would later become iconic, including the famous green and red stripe. Then, in 1947, Gucci introduced the bamboo handle bag. The idea seemed unusual at first, but heated bamboo, shaped by hand, created a look unlike anything else in luxury fashion. What began as a wartime solution quickly became a global statement piece. Celebrities like Ingrid Bergman and Elizabeth Taylor started carrying Gucci bags, connecting the brand to Hollywood glamour and international prestige. Gucci stopped feeling like a leather company and became a symbol of aspiration, proving that the crisis that nearly destroyed the brand had actually created its identity. 5. From family business to global power. Gucci died in 1953, shortly after the company opened its first New York store. He never saw how massive the brand would become. But his sons, especially Aldo Gucci, expanded aggressively during the post-war luxury boom. Then came the moment that changed fashion history. Jacqueline Kennedy was photographed carrying a Gucci handbag, later renamed the Jackie bag. Soon, celebrities like Audrey Hepburn, Grace Kelly, and Princess Diana turned Gucci into a global symbol of elegance and influence. But success created chaos inside the family. Lawsuits, betrayal, and power struggles nearly destroyed the company. The crisis reached its darkest point in 1995, when Maurizio Gucci was murdered in a plot connected to his ex-wife. Most brands would not survive scandals like that. Gucci did. Designer Tom Ford revived the company in the 1990s, restoring its exclusivity and cultural relevance. By 2024, Gucci had become one of the most powerful luxury brands in the world, generating billions in annual revenue. Gucci was never born into wealth, power, or opportunity. He was the son of a bankrupt craftsman who learned luxury by watching it from a distance. But through observation, patience, and obsession, he understood something most people never do. Luxury is not just about products. It is about identity, emotion, and aspiration. That idea transformed a poor Italian immigrant into the founder of one of the most powerful luxury empires in history. And maybe that is why this story still matters today. Behind the billions, the celebrities, and the iconic logo is a man who refused to let his origins define his future. So, what do you think was the real turning point in Gucci's rise? And do luxury brands today still carry the same meaning they once did? Subscribe for more stories like this, because some of the world's biggest empires were built by people who started with absolutely nothing.